last week, and I was absolutely appalled at one resident here, Mr Smith, who was accused of actually saying something, and in fact lying. I was absolutely astonished at the way that that one particular town councillor, Mrs Davey, may as well put her name, she actually, when he has mentioned about one of the previous councillors, he it was a mention about brown envelopes, and she outright lied last week when she said she had not said that. I have it on my phone with a video for anybody who's welcome to watch it. She did say and accuse one of my colleagues at the time, who I know is as straight as a die. There's no way that that particular guy would have taken brown envelopes. But Mrs Davey threatened Mr Smith with her solicitor. She bullied him. We're talking about bullying. Not one single person stood up and said, they didn't even call her to book, didn't tell her to shut up. Mr Smith just had to take it. I was on the council for 8 years. The last 2 years, we had to take it. And who do we take it from? Some of those people who are councillors now. I went on, with same as Tina did, I went on in 2011 with the best will in the world. I thought I could make a difference. I think I did. I got the Wyndham Way toilets reopened. I got Redcliffe Bay Hall with a disabled compliant toilet, and it redecorated completely out of the 60s. I did a hell of a lot of work, and I think Tina, I'm sorry that you have been disenfranchised or whatever you want to call it. I think that you were let down by your fellow councillors. The aggression I have received last week, personally, from an individual who's just been arguing with Mrs Hennessy, that is the firebrand that's touching this from individuals. I'm just appalled at the way that you speak to people. I have never spoken to anybody as a councillor. I felt I had responsibility. When I was a teacher, I would not have dared speak to anybody the way that you're speaking to people. That is why people will not come. I don't know whether many people here know it, but because I disagreed with something as a Tory councillor, I signed as an independent, a true independent, not an independent group or independent party. I stood there for 2 years as an independent because my conscience would not allow me to stand by a party that I felt had issued one lie. My conscience. I hope some of you have consciences as well. With Mrs Davey, the attitude last week that was to say she was not called to book, but what I'm suggesting now is that she immediately issues a public apology to Mr Smith, and also, you may not want it, I don't blame you if you don't, and her resignation as a liar, not befitting the role of a councillor in public office. This is a public office you're in. You should be respected. Absolutely respected. And I was also appalled, and like it was raised earlier on, at the chairman last week, feeling it was okay to wear the t-shirt carrying an insulting message. Is this the image that Portishead Town Council chairman should be presenting in a public forum? I think not. We don't have to be done up in a dinner suit. But for goodness sake, the message, I will read it to you.
I think it was a vice chairman that you're referring
Sorry,
to.
I beg your pardon. Sorry, sorry. He he acts like the chairman, and I think most of your words are probably his anyway. No, I'm sorry if that's not true. I would engage in a battle of wits with you, but I know you're witless, and I leave it at that. That is the sort of attitude that you are residents of, that why people are not coming to these council meetings. Why could we have 100 people? It wasn't all that they thought that we were doing a bad job. But I think you are doing a bad job in a lot of respects. I also respect some of the things you have achieved. I really do. But the attitude of the councillors, some of the councillors, not all of them, some of those councillors is absolutely appalling. And it's time you grew up and stopped behaving like a 2-year-old. I have dealt with 2-year-olds, which is why I never taught them anymore. But your behaviour this evening, Mr Cartwright, was appalling. It was rude.
For that, but
it was rude. I'm not going to engage in a conversation with you.
Okay, fine.
It was rude. It was aggressive, and it was pointed. You do not point out to a person in this kind of forum. You do not take an attitude and just segment that individual. You were focusing on that individual.
Like that person was focusing on my 10-year-old grandson.
Sorry, Bob, if you want to speak, you can
Picture online, for goodness sake.
But,
Get over it.
I'm not going to engage in a conversation with you. You're not worth it.
No, true.
Thank you.
That is my end, okay? I have had enough. I just want to go home and have a gin and tonic and settle myself down.
Well said, Marilyn.